got parts in the commitments. But our first gig together was in a place called the Waterfront in Dublin, and as you can imagine, we were extremely nervous. And Caroline wasn't playing drums at the point; she was on keyboards. So we had a computer playing the drums. So it was a bit funny.
It was very funny.
But and we were playing mostly to our family and friends, and I think bands, when they play to their family and friends, are probably most nervous, and we certainly were that night, but we got through it.
Nerve-wracking.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
Tim, I think you were there, weren't you? You were.
Well, yeah, this is the first time it ever happened to me, but I actually got physically sick before I went on. I was so nervous. Thankfully, I've never had that before.
We had an okay gig, after all.
But it's really terrifying because it's totally like uncharted territory for you. You know, it's totally new. No matter what you've done beforehand, when you first get up as a band and get on stage in front of an audience, you know, things can so easily go wrong. And there's a fair amount of luck involved when it goes right, you know, especially for the first time, because you don't really know you're not really skilled as such, you know, in it. So, I mean, I know for us, I was petrified, absolutely petrified. We all were. We just got through it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it always stays. And I think it's kind of probably a vital part of it. I mean, of course, I mean, the audience have just kept getting bigger over the years, so there's a lot more people to be scared. But at the same time, you love it so much, and once you get on and the audience is so good, you know, and you're playing your music, it's exactly where you want to be. And I think the way I combat the nerves is I really get into the song and I think about the song, and then after a while I can relax a little bit. But it's definitely always have the bit of nerves beforehand. No, I wouldn't say different. I could say what they're like though. All the gigs that we've played here, we've had a fantastic reaction. People very into the music, very into having a good time, which is very much what we're about, and really know our stuff. So it's always great. I mean, the gigs we've played in Hamburg and in Cologne and around when we did support to the Rolling Stones, we got a fantastic response, which is always kind of, that's a nervy one, you know, before such a band. But we've had a very good time here.
We haven't done, it's been a while since we've done like really small audiences, but it is a big difference. I mean, it's obviously the smaller gigs are a lot more intimate. I think once you go into, you know, tens of thousands, it gets very different. I mean, suddenly you're trying to play to a lot more people, and that's difficult. It's difficult to get around a stage trying to play to that many people. And the smaller ones, you can communicate better, for sure.
But sometimes in the smaller ones, I mean, there's kind of advantages and disadvantages to both. You know, in the big ones, you're minute and you have to put yourself out so far to reach the audience, as Caroline was saying. But in the smaller ones, sometimes when you go from a big one to a small one, you start to feel very exposed, because they can see every little thing you're doing in the small one, you know, so you do feel a little bit more under pressure in a smaller gig. Well, from that point of view. Not exactly. It's really lyrics from a song called "Give Me a Reason" that's on the album, and we found it kind of difficult to find a name for this album, to be honest. The other ones were kind of more obvious, but we found it fitted, and we could build a stage around it. You know, it's provocative of a lot of things. It's also, I would think, you know, one way we'd relate it is provocative of depth and ocean and depth, and I think that might reflect the years that have gone by and we're doing it, but it's not necessarily melancholy or, you know, blue in that way, you know, but it's just a lovely word though, blue, you know. Well, I mean, we've all been asked that question a lot recently, and at the moment it's like, it would feel like choosing one over the other, you know, because they're very precious to us, all of them. And we put a lot of heart into every song on the album. So at the moment, I think we would need to go out and tour it for a long time. And I think generally the ones that I loved the most, like on, let's say, Talk and Corners were the ones that translated best into a live performance. And Only When I Sleep was one of those songs. Or Queen of Hollywood was one of those songs where they really had huge atmosphere in the gig. So I've yet to find that out on this album yet, just to see what comes over the best. And that's the one definitely you get the most enjoyment out of.
Perhaps there is that element, because we can only imagine how lonely it might be for a solo artist, but for us, I suppose it's, you know, we have each other to rely on if we ever do get bored. You know, we tend to go out and party a little bit when we've got time, or maybe when we've got a day off. I suppose it's very unusual, the fact that we are together, cocooned like this as a band. You know, normally siblings will part at maybe 17 or 18 and go off and do their own thing. We're very different for us, and as is, we're here together 24/7, working and playing. So, but thankfully we get on very, very well. You know, if we didn't, there might be problems.
We've been together 10 years, so we've had different phases of our relationship, and we've had ups and we've had downs, we've had arguments and we've had no arguments, and we've had everything possible happen in this band, relationship-wise. So we're very used to each other. We do know each other very, very well, but I think it's got a lot easier over the years, the older we've got. The more relaxed we've got in the business, the more relaxed we've got with touring and all the scheduling and all that sort of stuff, it's easier on us. And we get on pretty well. I mean, compared to a lot of people, we get on pretty well. So we definitely have had everything happen, you know.
Ireland. We've been to many beautiful places, and a lot of, you know, certain countries would stand out for us, but I think that the one overwhelming thing that certainly has been brought to my attention is what a great country we have, what a great country we live in. You know, Ireland is a super country. It mightn't have the weather that other countries might have, but you know, faraway fields are not necessarily greener. But it's wonderful, the job that we have. We get to experience a lot of different cultures, and that's really a plus side for what we do.
It really, I mean, I think it depends. I mean, I think it is, because once you know you're going home, you know, you can see your friends and you can catch up with people, or you can spend time with your partner, or you can see, you know, we could see our dad, or we can just really relax, because we know our own environment, and it's much easier to relax in. But every place has its own little thing, you know, like Australia was amazing, because we took off there, probably the first place throughout the world. Well, it was the first place we took off, and it was, the concerts over there amazing. The people were great, very like the Irish. We found that they're very like us. I don't know, everywhere's different, you know. They all have their advantages and disadvantages. I mean, Australia is so far away, so you have to go through hellish flights to get there. But once you get there, it's wonderful. So I do think we're happier to be at home sometimes, because we're at home.
Is that possible?
We can. I mean, you know, it really depends on where you're going. I mean, you don't pick the bar that's got the most people in it, and that you pick an environment that you're comfortable in. And there's places in Dublin that we go out that we're very, very comfortable in, and there's always great restaurants. And I mean, you just pick spots that you're most comfortable in, and of course parties and friends, and you know, your friends treat you the way they always have. So you've always got that at home. And the Irish are pretty cool like that. I mean, there's no kind of this adulation going on all the time. I mean, it's more kind of, they kind of just, you know, can treat you as anybody else. You know, there's no big deal.
Yeah, everybody gets that in every job, and it certainly is an extremely intensive job. I mean, it is all the time, and I think we'll only really realise that probably in about 10 years' time, when we have families, and when, you know, we'll go, my God, for 10 years we went, you know,
Probably miss it.
and, you know, but there is something about it that you have an amazing amount of energy within you when you do something you love. And I mean, like everybody, they have their down moments and their tired moments, but you stay there because the predominant love is very strong, and we're very happy on the stage. So we'll see. You know,
like if we take a break, I always notice even with all of us, once we go back on tour and the first time we go on stage again together, like we all have that buzz where, you know, we're back on, you know, we are, this is actually the reason we're doing it. Because if it was all the other stuff, you know, constant, you know, promotion, all that sort of stuff all the time, it would get in you. But that's the reason we do it, is the playing the music. And when you get back to that, that's what keeps you going and will continue to keep you going. You know.
We haven't made plans. I mean, I think your career is something that almost develops by itself, by your kind of pushing, you know, but it can take you in many different ways. For the moment, we're just very focused on this new album, and that's going to take an awful lot out of us anyway, without having to think 2 years down the line. I mean, I know that we'll always be involved in music. I expect we'll continue to record albums, but we prefer not to make decisions too well in advance, because, you know, you just, you know, as they say, you know, the best plans laid. You can't do that, because something else always comes in to change your position, or to change how you're feeling, or maybe something else becomes more important. So we'll just wait and see. That's the only way to do it.
Oh, it's very hard, very, very difficult for us to be objective about our music. It's something that we write from the heart. I don't know, when in terms of quality, I mean, we think it's very honest, and we love it. That's first and foremost very important to us, that we love our music, and we do love the music that we write. It's a hell of a bonus that a lot of other people like it as well. But in terms of quality, I mean, categorization of our music would be, it's something that we don't really like. But if you were to categorize it, if that's what you mean, it would be, you know, rock, pop, and pop music with a traditional Irish element.
It's very difficult, because we just write what we're writing, and we kind of go by what other people think. If they say to us, "So that's a great song, I really like this, I like that," or, you know, "I like the record, it's got a great mood about it," it's very hard for us to say what's great about us.
You don't really have an objectivity
Yeah.
on your own music. It's just from pure inspiration. And if people like it, well, that's a hell of a bonus. You often find that you've written a good song when you see people react to it. Because it's kind of hard to know, because it's so personal.
Is that boring to you sometimes?
I'll tell you what is boring at times, right? Now, when I read an article and all they talk about is the looks, that bugs me, because, and that annoys me. I don't mind, you know, if they're talking about the music as well, they're talking about the album, they're talking about stuff like that. But when talked on too much about the beauty element, although, I mean, we're not going to say anything bad about it. I mean, we're very appreciative of what we have, and of course it's going to be a bonus. We're not stupid about it. But at the same time, sometimes it's just like, oh yeah, the core is good looking. And the odd time, and that can get a bit frustrating a little bit.
I mean, the only reason they see us is because of our music. People would never know we had looks if we couldn't write songs, because we'd never be out there.
True.
You know, so to us it's kind of, it's incidental, and it's a bonus. It's a nice thing. It's like, I mean, it's what they do, and it's nice that we're perceived in that way. I mean, it's definitely flattering, but it's not actually, it's just weird. It's just weird because we do music, but
It's not the
nice.
reason for the success.
Yeah,
No,
absolutely, and we don't even need to defend that, because we know that, you know. Yeah, but some of us you won't be able to find in the movie, because they're that small, very small rooms. Andrea was more, stood out more in the movie. You were, she was Jimmy Rabbit's sister, so she was like brushing her hair at the mirror and saying very rude words. It was very much the catalyst for us, because what we got out of the commitments was nothing to do with movies. What we got out of the commitments was a publishing deal, which was, I mean, the best thing that could have happened to us, because
we were picked up as a band by a publishing company for writing our own music, and that enabled us not to have to take on steady 9-to-5 jobs 7 days a week, so we could focus on our writing, and it brought us right up to the point of getting a record deal, because otherwise we wouldn't have had enough money and enough time to do what we wanted to do.
Definitely, yeah. You're very much influenced by your environment, and the environment we were brought up in was a very musical one. So it was natural that we gravitated towards playing ourselves, and then coming into the business was a decision that we made a good bit later on.
Yeah, it's a funny one though. Sometimes talent can come from nowhere, and I've seen other. I remember there was a singer, Jordan Hill.
Oh yeah.
And she's amazing voice, like incredible range and everything. Neither of her parents could sing, and they couldn't trace it anywhere in the family. It just came from nowhere. So it's a very strange thing. I think in general, yes, it comes from your family. But there are some cases where somebody picks up a guitar and it's not in the family at all, and the member of the family picks up the guitar and suddenly it's there. So.
In our case it did.
In our case it did, yeah. But, it's a strange one.
I hope that everybody enjoys it, because I'm sure we will. I mean, it's been a while, because we were recording the album that we've been, on stage. And it's a great audience to come back to Germany to, it just really is. And it's been a while since we played in Hamburg. So, we hope to have a very good time, and we hope that they love the new songs. We hope that gets a good response.
So this is a test for something, or some sort of a test for the tour in November with the new song.
We did one in the Fla in London, one concert already, and that was great. And we all kind of tested out the songs, and we got a great reception for them. So that was one gig. But yeah, this will be kind of another one to see if the set is working together and if people are enjoying it. Mm.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
I'm a person sitting in the corner.